I have to start by saying I don't want to be doing this. I do not want to be a whistleblower. I want to be on the CIA's side. Uh, my name is Matthew Roberts. I'm from Carbondale, Pennsylvania, and I've been a targeted individual for the last 4 years. What that means is I'm part of an online growing community of previously sane people across the fucking globe, of reporting of telepathic torture, of reporting of outside voices tormenting them 24/7, destroying their quality of life, driving them to commit suicide. I've been experiencing this since May of 2022. Uh, what got me targeted was in 2020. In the year 2020, I had recently moved back from New Mexico. Uh, Alcoholism and depression got the best of me. I couldn't hold a job, and I had to move back to Carbondale. Uh, Everyone said, quit drinking, your life will get better. I did quit drinking, and my life got worse. My depression grew, and I picked back up using. I started initially with meth, and eventually picked up using fentanyl. Uh, and I wound up under investigation from the Lackawanna County District Attorney's Office from one of my scumbag drug dealers. He got himself in trouble and decided to turn rat. And to get himself out of trouble, he needed to make a control buy out of out-of-state drug dealer. My New Mexican license plate, he took that and said I was an out-of-state drug dealer, and he made a fake control buy off me. I remember the shady night he did it. Before he died, he confessed to me he did this. So I knew I was under investigation for 2 years. The city of Scranton, the Lackawanna County District Attorney's Office, has a relationship with National Resources, and they use this wildly advanced telepathic espionage, telepathic surveillance technology, V2K, voice to skull, or voice of God technology. National Resources gave the Lackawanna County District Attorney's Office this technology for surveillance. In May of 2022, 2 years into surveilling me, they decided enough was enough, and they needed to get me into a rehab to either collect or move on with the technology that was inside of me. May of 2022 began the 24/7 telepathic torture assault. The people torturing me are only human, and they make mistakes, and I've been able to ascertain 6 of their names. I've been on YouTube saying this for well over a year. Mark and Chris being leads. Mark Powell and Chris Colcherno. And some of the other cops, Lackawanna Drug Task Force cops and detectives involved are named Jason, Brian, Jeff, and Detective Jordan. I've been able to ascertain 6 of their names and where they got the technology from. National Resources. The telepathic torture is something I can only describe as a synthesized schizophrenia, as a manufactured schizophrenia. It is a nightmare. For dark months, they openly promoted suicide. Mark Powell was originally the lead. He has smartly backed away from it. I haven't heard his voice in over a year and a half. Chris Colcherno has taken the lead. I am on YouTube stating all of this. I never knew who National Resources was until mid-April. The Voices changed tactics beginning January 2022. The Voices went dormant, and they were dormant for so long, I decided I would have to move on with my life. I'd have to go back to work. I wanted to put my life back together, and I was making a wrap-up YouTube video and finishing up the written report. I've been writing down everything I've been experiencing for the last 2 years. I'm going to share the link. It is 6 or 7 pages of what I've been experiencing. It talks about how I learned the 6 fucking names. It talks about everything. I will link to it all. I don't know what else to do, especially now that I know by name the CIA is involved. I've been on meth since I was 17. I've experienced psychosis plenty of times. I've been wildly high on all sorts of other substances. My mind has always been a safe place. I've never experienced an outside thought, and certainly have never heard any other voice other than my own inside my head. The voices in my head are obviously cops. They do not hide that fact. They're not stopping on their own. I do not know their evil agenda. They no longer openly promote suicide. And, you know, the 20 months I went through to synthesize schizophrenia. 20 months was a 24/7 negative hell. Within the first month, I got a phone call. It was strange and short. She claimed to be from the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office. It was a female voice. In the beginning, I was just saying I was under attack by the Lackawanna County Drug Task Force. She called me and said that the attack was actually coming from the Lackawanna County District Attorney's office. I know the name National Resources because one time when they were all ganging up on me, I broke down crying, sobbing. In the beginning, I did a lot of crying, a lot of speeches. And one time in a manic breakdown, I broke down and I was crying. I was confessing that I would never let what's happening to me happen to even the people doing this to me. Those responsible for doing this to me, I would still save them from this hell. I would kick down any and every door to stop this from happening to them. I would rescue them. I wouldn't let this happen to Mark Powell. And the lady, who's the same lady who told me Mark's name, Mark, we got a problem. She goes, National Resources. She said it multiple times. National Resources. I haven't always been a fucking derelict. In my mid-20s, I was actually a federal employee for a couple years. I kept my military ID, and the first time the voices torturing me saw that, they questioned what they were doing. For half an hour, they hounded me. Were you in the military? Why do you have military ID? In my mid-20s, I worked for the Department of Defense. I was a WG-10 sheet metal mechanic at the Tobyhanna Army Depot. I'm 40 years old, and I've never been on probation. The one thing I've learned from having this shared consciousness is that I do not have bad thoughts. In concept of itself, a shared consciousness, I am not against it. It would keep people honest, and you'd be able to fight crime before it even started. I have no thoughts I'm ashamed of or want to hide from the world. I don't know why I'm continuing to be targeted, but it needs to stop, and this is another cry for help. I've been documenting this on YouTube and on Twitter. You can go through 2 years of me and having manic episodes. I've been hospitalized 8 times for mental health in the last 2 years. Anytime I felt my life was in danger, I would 201 myself. I've spent months in psych wards. I've talked to a dozen different doctors, rationally insane conversations. Smart doctors tell me I am too old and smart for this to be schizophrenia. Other doctors say exactly what I'm describing could only be schizophrenia. Those doctors are often interested in when I talk about shift changes, and the fact that in the beginning I even heard one of the voices walk away. They said, I'm not going to be part of this kid committing suicide, and they walked away from this program, and I never heard their voice again. This is a real thing I'm experiencing, and now that I know the CIA is directly involved, I'm not sure what direction to take to get this to end. I need to be rescued. If I thought this was mental illness, I would keep this to myself. I would keep my crazy to myself. I would never embarrass myself, or more so my family. This has been going on for 2 years, and my story has not changed. The Lackawanna County District Attorney's Office is up to no good, and someone needs to stop them. Their relationship with the CIA probably is pretty well known. National Resources is the CIA domestic division. It is what the CIA does on American soil. This is who they source the technology from. Please, someone look into this. This is a cry for help.